Hey everyone, this is DJ Alessandrini here with another weekly reference lap for the rookie Mazda series. Alright, we're jumping right into it. First, we just got to get down the straightaway. I think I started the video a little too far away from the start-finish line. But, you know, we're going to stay on the left side of the track. And the first reference that I'm using is these tire marks here. Now, I know some graphic settings might not have tire marks. They might have tire marks. So if your graphic settings don't have the tire marks, I'm sorry, I really don't have a good reference for you. I mean, you might be able to count these little lighter spots in the fence. So the fourth one. But basically, it's right where the tire markers are. And I typically don't like to use things on the track as braking references, but this kind of it moves all the way to the side of the track. So if you have a car right in front of you, they're not really going to cover that up too much, and you'll see it coming from so far away. You can kind of just guess where the tire marks are going to be. So typically, I don't use anything on the track as a reference, just because of if a car's in front of you, you can cover it up. But in this case, we're using it because it's really the only thing they use in this corner. So anyways, hard on the brakes, get down to third gear. Now, there's been a lot of feedback about people wanting the graphical bars that show the pedals, and I was going to show it to be more in this general area and it's just be floating in space in front of my eyes and stuff like that while I'm doing this lap, and that way you guys would have that information. But then I started thinking about if that information is actually viable and going to help you in any means, and I decided that I would go on a short rant here and explain to you why that isn't ideal, basically. And you're never aiming for a certain percentage of the brake pedal to get the car to turn into the corner. You're releasing off the brake until the yaw of the car is acceptable, and then you keep it at that brake pressure until it's not acceptable. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. Maybe we'll have a discussion on it in the comments. But basically, you're not aiming for DJ on YouTube was at 15% entering this corner going into the apex, so I'm going to also be that. No, you should be at the brake pressure where the car starts to angle into the corner in the manner that you want it to. Now, that's going to take a lot of practice to get the car to dance on the brakes, but there's not really a better way to explain that. Like, you'll want a nice slope from your release of the pedal, but aiming for specific percentages on inputs from some guy on YouTube is not the proper way to do that. Really, you should be playing with the amount of brake pressure you have and how that's affecting the car, and use that, how it's affecting the car, to your advantage to get on power sooner. So, all right, rant's over. We're going to keep going into the video here. So, brakes. I start releasing off the brake as I start putting in tire or wheel here. You'll see the car gets a little light. It floats in. The wheel opens up a little bit. So I have the nose pointed where I want it, which is, you'll see. Let's see if I can. Okay. There's a little lighter grass here. That's because in the real world, that's where all the cars run over the grass. Now, on the new tire model here in the Miata, the grass is really slippery, so we're not just running over the grass. The car will get a little wild. We'll lose time on that. But this is where we want our car at the apex. So let's see if we can go back a little bit. We want our car running over this part of the curb right here, where the grass is a little discolored. And if you're on power right as your car is running over this grass, and your car perfectly floats out to the edge of the track, you know you did it right. So aim for the angle on entry where you can commit the throttle at that lighter grass patch, where the car will float to the edge of the track. And when you get that angle right, that's exactly what should happen. You'll know that you nailed it. Okay, heading into the next corner. There's a little bit of a trick here that I like, and it's just really to stabilize the car. Also, there's a little patch of dirt on the side here. Basically, I'm turning in. You see this dirt that ends right here? So when that dirt ends is basically when I'm turning in. So I get the car flicked in. I'm on the brakes. I'm still in third gear. There's a bump like right here where my mouse is. I wait till after the bump to shift to second. Now, if you're shifting the second before that, you hit the bump, the car might get a little weird, and that's going to cost you time. I just find it way more consistent if I wait till after the bump to go to second. Bump, second. So the video did some weird compression stuff there. So you'll see the front of the car bounce. Watch. Bump, second. And now I'm just trying to get a good exit here. You can grab a little bit of grass. It'll help kind of like pivot the rear. I'm trying to get a good exit where I'm not compromising my exit out of this corner. Now that's I know that's tough. But basically you're going to keep the car turning to the right as much as possible to open up this, where then I can float a bunch of speed through this corner and be committed into throttle. And you're going to use every single inch of track. You know, you have the curb right here. You have this little green thing. Well, you can actually dip like a half a tire into the grass right here before you get an off track. And basically that's going to make my left tires right here. So if your right tires are up against the edge of the pavement part, you're giving up an entire car width on this corner here. And that's robbing you of extra radius that you can have to hold speed through there. And I think in the next video I'm going to have a discussion on opening the radius of corners, and it's going to be a whole thing. I'm making like it's not actually a PowerPoint, but imagine a PowerPoint presentation on circles and radius and using every bit of track. And I remember when I went to comp school, it made a whole lot of sense. Like I knew you should do that, but the way it was described to me was mind-blowing. So next week I'm going to be going over circles and radius on why it makes your lap times faster and why you'll be rolling down the straightaway faster. But see, I'm using every inch of track here. I'm on the very edge of the curbing, getting in power. The car's floating out. I'm nicking the grass here. And VLC is not happy. There we go. Okay. And then there's not really a good brake marker for when to brake up here. But I think it's like just after the 50 leaves your viewpoint. I think the best way to visualize that is when your rear bumper is at this brake marker there. And I start instantly peeling the car in because there's a hill here. Let me back up a little bit because normally VLC doesn't have this many problems. So there's a little bit of a hill here, right? So I want to get the car turned in to start grabbing that hill as soon as possible because there's like just a little extra grip, even though it's a little off camber. On power, we're moving back to the left. We're trying to make as much room as we can for this, but not at the expense of our getaway speed. If you get all the way to the left side of the track here, you were on the throttle too late on the previous left-hand corner. So if you get on the gas too late here, you'll be able to get all the way to the left up here. Basically, you got on the gas at the right point when you move back to the left about 3/4 of the track to then open up this corner. You shouldn't be able to move all the way to the left here. Whatever time you gain leaving the next right-hander by opening it up that little extra more, you gave up more time in the corner before. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, like I said, just let's have a discussion about it in the comments. So we move to the 3/4 section of the track here. Start arcing it in. You can use the brake to play with the nose. You're just trying to get the nose to suck in. You just give the brake a little pressure, maybe like 5, 10, 15%. You have to see what works for the way you're coming into that corner, what's working for the car in the current attitude that it's in. It's a bunch of different things, guys. It could really be anything. So that's why I don't want you looking at my brake pressure, because it's going to be different every single lap in every single circumstance. Different track conditions, different tire conditions, different setup. The brake pressure is not going to matter. What the car is doing when you're on the brakes is what matters. So let's not get caught up in the brake pressure. Here we want to turn in, but try not to fall off this curbing here with your right side tires. You can be all up on that curbing, but if you fall in, when you pop back out of the curbing, it really upsets the car. Again, use all of the track here. We're right on that white line. Try not to drag the left tires into the grass here. That would be bad because we're getting right on the brakes. And here, this corner is especially important to have a nice gradual release off the brakes, and it really sets the nose into the corner. And then the thing to focus on here is when we get in power, we can run over this green out here, and we can tickle the dirt. And I'll see a lot of drivers, they won't put their car in the green. But this is fair game. You're not getting an off track here. You can even drop a little bit of a tire into the dirt here. It's still not an off track. Fair game, especially for a quali lap. If you drop more than a half of a tire in there, things get a little wild. So not recommended. All right, we're going to watch the lap from the beginning to end, unbroken up. Again, this was DJ Alessandrini with your weekly reference lap. It looks like we're running a couple minutes long, but I had a rant about brake pressure, so I apologize for that. And again, just subscribe if you haven't already. If you don't want to, then I guess I'll see you later. Yeah, apparently you didn't like the video. That's fine. We're cool with it. All right, we're watching from beginning to end. Thanks again for watching. Any questions? I'll try to answer every single comment I can. So just shoot any question. It's not too dumb. If you're a little self-concerned that it might be too dumb, you can always just send me a private message, and we'll take care of any questions you got. All right, cool. Let's watch the lap, and have a good week. Good luck, guys.